Institute of Economic Affairs, as part of its commitment to strengthening the pillars of Ghana's democracy, brought together politicians, religious and traditional leaders and other key stakeholders in the political discourse to critically examine the threat the winner-takes-all system of governance is posing to the country's democratic gains. For politicians, although the status quo has not been challenged enough, there is also the need to take a second look at how political parties are funded.
We need to look at how political parties are funded and how campaigns are financed. Very crucial. Because if we continue to do what we're doing now, seeing political parties as private organizations of a group of individuals who have decided to raise their resources, money and everything, use their time and energy to win power. We cannot then after that call on them to share that power with us, because they have invested and therefore they will be looking for the dividends of their investment, which is normal human behavior. And so what we need to do is to make sure that rather from the very beginning of forming political parties and funding political parties and financing campaigns, we are all part of it, either by contributions of finance or resources, so that it becomes a public organization. And so what you win, or the spoils of the war, can now be shared by all those who participated, which is the public.
In a country in which there are so many different strands, ethnic groups, political groups, various religious groups, it would speak more to a consensus if we found a way of getting representation into our voting system. So what we're asking for here, in place of the winner-takes-all system, is a system of proportional representation that will take into account the votes of other people and bring their representatives into government, not to check government and create a stalemate, but to be able to provide the sense of accountability, and transparency that is required, where a majority vote would otherwise mask it.
The IEA has therefore established an 11-member advisory committee to examine the practice, see to nationwide public consultations and propose recommendations for reforms to feed into the nation's ongoing constitutional review process.
It's becoming very clear that Ghanaians are not happy with what we want to call race cycle electoral tension, that anytime we are getting close to election, it's like we are coming to the end of the world, and people are panicking, deep-seated fear all over, to the extent that some people buy tickets, acquire visas, and they want to leave this country. And that one must stop. That one must stop. But the steps towards that are so many thoughts we've gathered, which I believe the committee is going to put together and come out strongly with a common position.
Meanwhile, the committee, after 4 similar zonal consultations across the country, has among others proposed the inclusion of political parties' manifestos in the National Development Plan. Abigail Adamakwentri for Joy News.